Do you need to test audiences to scale your Facebook ad account? There's a huge debate on the media buying front of different philosophies of how to run a campaign. You have on one side of the spectrum people that are highly for ABO testing, interest-based testing, cost cap, bid cap, focusing on first-party attribution data inside Facebook. On the other side of the spectrum, you have individuals that are saying go fully broad, do no interest-based targeting, let the machine learning platform or Facebook gather enough data to point you in the right direction. Now, I've tested all those strategies, right? I've done going fully broad, and I've done highly targeted interest-based targeting, cost caps, bid caps, so on and so forth, right? And now I say this to say, as a student of both philosophies, I think for specific brands at specific points of time, each strategy makes sense to a certain extent, right? For example, if a brand is low on inventory and they need to manage cash flow, they need to manage inventory, and they want to hit a specific target CPA within the next quarter to float their next purchase of inventory for the following 6 months. So they have that runway, right? Interest-based targeting with cost caps, highly ABO testing, that makes sense to utilize that strategy. Whereas on the other side of the spectrum, let's say it's a brand that is doing less than 10K a month in ad spend, it makes sense to go fully broad because you're trying to attract top of funnel customers. Broad makes sense when you look at the split of a brand's customer base. If 70% of traffic is returning customers and 30% is top of funnel, we want to ideally switch that ratio. We want to have 70% top of funnel brand new customers, 30% retargeting coming back from emails, SMS, new collection drops. The goal of equilibrium is always we want to have a higher top of funnel customer attraction that outweighs the returning customer base. Because on a long enough time horizon, if you're just relying on LTV or returning customers to boost your revenue, you are not growing your business. You're just only going to hurt your bottom line over time. So you need to actually have profitable top of funnel customers into your ecosystem, and as a byproduct, your LTV is going to skyrocket. It's going to increase over time. So in this scenario, it really depends on what state you're at with your business. What are you trying to accomplish? What does inventory look like for the next 6 months? And ultimately, what does your split look like as far as what is the threshold from new customers to returning customers? And then from there, you have enough information to now make a decision. Okay, what is the strategy I want to utilize? From a fractional CMO perspective versus a media buyer perspective, right? A fractional CMO that's good at what they do is ultimately looking at all these numbers holistically and understanding, okay, I know when I go fully broad, Meta's frequency is going to place creatives at a certain threshold, right? When we do our dynamic creative tests and we build a main winners ad set that's going fully broad, that hosts all of the winning creatives, naturally, Meta's placing 2 to 3 creatives as top of funnel, and we know this by the frequency, where the frequency is around like 1.05 to 1.10. And then we also have creatives where Meta's placing that more as bottom of the funnel / middle of the funnel, where the frequency is like 1.3, 1.5, and the CPM to reflect that's like $20, whereas the top of funnel creatives, the CPM is at like $10 or sub $10. So I say this to say, regardless, Meta's already retargeting customers. You don't need to set up a whole different separate campaign that's focusing on retargeting. You can just look to optimize creatives that fill the funnel. And this is what I like about broad. For me, I get more time outside of the ad account to focus on objectives that's going to raise the overall funnel. So I always say this in every single video, but I want to create creatives that fit a specific demographic, right? I might have focus on creatives that are more top of funnel brand awareness based off the messaging, based off the type of concept we're testing. It might be a static, it might be a GIF, might even be UGC in the form of like a founder video. And then I might go the opposite direction, a more middle funnel / bottom of the funnel, while using keywords, copy that is native to returning customers. That's retargeting those customers, right? When I create those creatives, I'm working with Meta's machine learning platform instead of against it with manual testing, so that Meta's placing these creatives where it needs to be, right? If I have 2 top of funnel creatives, my next objective is I want to create creatives that I want to create 2 additional creatives that are more middle funnel / bottom of the funnel. And now what happens on a long enough time horizon is you're focusing on the inputs that's going to raise the overall trajectory of your business. You want to have that even split. Now, vice versa, right? If you're doing the ABO manual based targeting, you're basically having budget set at the ad set level. You're giving each creative or each ad set a specific number of budget to spend per day. You now are solely relying relying on Facebook data to make your decisions, especially with cost caps and big caps. You're literally just solely relying on Facebook data to manage your target CPA. So you're over favoring Meta's attribution data compared to the overall blended incremental lift across other channels, right? Because I'm under the theory of if you run ads on Facebook and somebody doesn't convert, theoretically, they're going to ideally look your brand up on Google, or they might come across if you're posting organic, right? You're going to see a lift in search volume just from the basis of ad. And I truly believe that every customer journey is different, but all these components play a role in it, right? When you run ads, your search volume is going to go up. When you run ads, the amount of sessions per site, it's going to go up. And that's not all going to be directly correlated with Facebook, right? If you have more customers in the pipeline, more sales can come from email, more sales can come from whatever. If you're running affiliates, right? It really depends on how much spend you're putting on across multiple channels, and then based off the customer journey where each customer lies within the funnel. So I say this to say, what is the process? What's the implementation pathway of how we work with our portfolio brands? Well, in layman's terms, what we're going to do is we're going to go fully broad, evergreen offer with a high AOV bundle that's at a gross margin of around 75% that we can run Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, right? We lay the foundation with that. That's going to be our main driver that's going to attract top of funnel customers. And then as a byproduct, we might create separate campaigns that's going to be more ABO style testing, where if we're pushing a specific seasonality bundle, we're going to focus that with our ABO manual testing with interest-based targeting. Or we might go up the funnel where we have this evergreen broad campaign, and then now we want to go a step further and maximize efficiency, where we have our gold standard campaign that's going fully broad, and then from there we're going up the vertical where we're testing specific pockets of audiences to see, okay, how much money can we extrapolate from our current spend with this efficiency. And then there's always going to be downsides. There's pros and cons with each approach, right? With our approach, we're eliminating the cons and we're maximizing the pros with using both strategies at a specific point. Now, if you just do one strategy with going fully broad, the benefits, in my opinion, outweigh the cons of interest-based targeting. Whereas when you go full ABO and that's all you do, you're going to experience audience fatigue at certain thresholds of spend. I'm talking about like 5, 10K a day. You're going to have to replace those audiences very frequently. You're going to deal with ad fatigue. And then as a byproduct, you're going to need more creatives to float that audience base, because either you have to change your targeting or you have to change the creatives, because as mentioned before, you're condensing the amount of reachable audience from your ideal customer profile. Whereas with broad, you're going fully broad. You don't have to worry about ad fatigue. You can literally spend 10K a day and you're not going to reach any entry whatsoever, right? Especially if you're excluding previous buyers, it's solely top of funnel. So I say this to say the sweet spot is using both strategies when it makes sense, right? I'm always going to have a broad campaign that runs year round. That's kind of my approach. Is I need that to fuel bottom of the funnel growth. And once I have that gold standard, once I have that winning combination of funnel / offer, then I'm going to go up the vertical where I might do a lot of ABO manual testing to see, okay, can we maximize efficiency? And then it goes a step further where if, okay, we've extrapolated or we've exhausted our spin on Facebook, then I might go run ads on Google as far as search campaigns to reach that bottom of the funnel audience that didn't convert from Facebook. Then I might go a step further from that and run YouTube ads or run TikTok ads, right? So the goal is always we want to focus on one channel, then diversify once we've exhausted and hit entropy for a specific offer, for specific products, or we've tested everything possible and it just naturally makes sense to expand. So I say this to say, if you have any questions about the process, drop them down below. You can read my 30-page protocol that goes super in depth on this at scalevelocity.io. And if you're interested and you want to skip the process of you getting burned by agencies and you want to have the actual protocol implemented so that you can build in-house one day to possibly exit your business, book in a call at scalevelocity.io and you'll speak directly with me. I'll catch you guys in the next video.